All right, Junkie Nation. Gorgeous George and Goes deliver another MMA superstar. This time it's UFC bantamweight Aspen Ladd, who her opponent fell out of a fight a few weeks ago, but the fight's been rebooked for October 2nd. Welcome back, Aspen. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Well, I wanted to ask you, first of all, how far was your hike today?
So today there's actually a fire by my house, and we got back late last night from like 11 miles. So today was no hike for the first time in a long time, but tomorrow will be a big one. But yeah, so easy day there.
You know, I try and get 10,000 steps a day, and I don't always make it to that. Sometimes I get to about 7,000, which is 1,000 of just running around, and the 6,000 I did, 3 miles. So you're actually doing like 25,000 steps a day when you do these things.
Step-wise, I've always been like a mile person, and I'm kind of obsessive. I like to track it. So most days it's somewhere between like 8 and 12 miles, more on the weekends.
That is crazy. Do you give the dogs a day off, by the way? I mean, not your feet. I'm talking about your dogs.
That's part of the reason that today we didn't go, besides the fire and the fact that we finished up late last night. Obsessive. We're all obsessive, so it works out.
Nice. Aspen, on fight week, I was trying to search for it before the interview. I just couldn't find it. But it was either a tweet or an Instagram post that led me to believe, like, I'm here to fight. It's fight week, and I'm going to get the job done. But almost like you were hinting you weren't 100%. So when Macy fell out, was that almost like a relief, or were you really ready to go and fight?
Oh, hell no. That was the best I felt coming into a fight. The best my weight's been, the best everything's been. I was ready to go. So, yeah, no, I was extremely disappointed because I got the call. It was weight cut night, like right before the final cut, and I only had a few pounds to go. It's like, I can't even describe the amount of disappointment there.
I wonder what it is I read. Maybe I just misinterpreted it. Who knows? Obviously you're coming back from a serious injury, and there's probably been doubts along the way, and you've conquered them until you were able to get through the full camp and ready to perform, right? So, I don't know. Maybe I read into something, but you're saying you were ready to go, and if anything, now this delay is just going to get you even more prepared.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's disappointing, but life goes on, and it got rebooked, so we're still doing it, just at a slightly later date. It's just hard when you get that close to something you've been working for so long, especially coming back from an injury. And then it gets taken like right there. Like you're on the precipice of doing it, and it goes bye-bye.
Do you take a few days off and just restart a camp, or is it just the world's longest camp at this point?
It was an easier week coming back. So, you're building up to the fight. Everything is really, really hard. So it was like a light week when I came back, but I can't not train. I can't not diet. Everything's back on track, basically.
Just for the fans to know, you don't have to divulge too much, but just so the fans know, what else takes a hit here? You obviously don't get paid because you get paid to fight. And then you probably have training partners and coaches. It's not like, I think a lot of fans are so spoiled with like, oh man, oh well, they'll rebook it and that's that. Who's fighting next? But for you guys, it's like an actual, it's just like the worst day of the year.
Pretty much. So every time that we don't get to fight, and they don't have to, people assume you get paid, those kind of things. You don't have to. It's at the promoter's discretion. It's at several people higher up in the chain. They can decide whether they will or they won't. Technically, if you weigh in and then your opponent drops out, you'll get paid automatically there. It's in your contract. But in situations like this, it's completely at their discretion. So whether they do or they don't, you have no idea. And anytime a fighter's fight falls out, especially that close, you all take a hit. You're traveling, you're training, your trainers, everybody that's helped you up to that point, everybody that makes money every time you fight, you all take a loss.
Aspen, in that situation, what is the best way to deal with you? Would you want to be left alone? Is it one of those where just, I know what you're about to say, just leave me alone, give me 20 minutes, I'll be fine? Or is it better to console you and just say, hey, look, this is what we need to do moving forward? What kind of person are you when these type of things happen?
Honestly, I'm not a touchy-feely person whatsoever. So for that, it was just mostly angry, but we were automatically discussing things. We were trying to hash out what we're going to do next, because when she fell out that night, we were still trying to get a fight, because we thought, Miesha had fought the weekend before, and maybe she'd want to take the fight on a week's notice. She walks around light. We could have done it at 45. So we contacted them, actually their camp. And she was game, but I suspect she was asking for a dollar amount that UFC was not going to do. So that fight almost happened. Almost. It's just, we were trying anything at that point. So I didn't really have time to get too like sad or angry. We were still trying to save the fight. And after that, it's like, all right, well, let's rebook it and see where this goes.
In this scenario now that you're in, would you want to be, I know that the best case scenario for fighters, usually a lot of them will say, I just want to be in there and out of there, no injuries, get that victory. But is there a piece of you that kind of wants to log in sometime?
You guys are breaking up so much. I'm sorry. It is on.
I said, yeah. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So in this scenario, I know that most fighters say, I want to be in and out, no injuries, get that victory, go home, celebrate. But in your particular situation, is there like a little piece of you that wants to log in a little bit more time as well?
So obviously coming back from the injury, my plan this year is to fight as much as I possibly could. And that's already been basically kiboshed because you're not. I'm probably going to get one more fight in this year. It's going to be that fight. And then maybe I'll be back beginning of next year, unless there's a quick turnaround of something else. So yes and no. It'll be nice to have like the after a fight. It's a sense of relief because you've been training so long for one moment. For me, it's even more so because it's been my whole life has been a camp for the last year and a half getting back from the knee. And it wasn't like a fight camp. It was the same approach to recovery. So my entire life has been on track, recovering to get back to this moment. Then I take a fight. I've known about the fight for probably about 4 months. Then that fight disappears right before it happens. So my whole life has been at camp for a long period of time. It'd be nice to have like maybe, I don't know, a week of not having camp and then back on it.
Aspen, I want to go back to a couple things. So you're right. It is at the UFC's discretion. And sometimes they have, done it, written a check. Were you able to get anything from them in regards to finances towards your camp or, anything, I guess, goodwill effort?
So the UFC so far, they've always treated me right. Everything that has happened, and I've had some weird things in my career, they have done, they've operated right by me. And that's basically all I'll say on it.
Okay. And then, I'm actually surprised. So the Miesha fight that was pitched by you, it actually came closer than what we all thought. I think behind the scenes, many felt like, well, that would be a great fight because obviously you're a contender in this division. And she's now come back, former champion. There's no reason why these two shouldn't collide. But it did seem like a quick turnaround. But you're telling me it was closer than people knew about because I didn't hear that it went as close as it being considered and her obviously lobbying a number that just wasn't matched.
Yes. So with that fight, and that's exactly what happened. And maybe we'll meet down the road. And obviously she had just fought. She would have looked like a hero taking that fight on such short notice, and it would have been badass. But I wouldn't blame Sami for not, just based on the fact she fought the week before, but because she fought that soon, that recently, and she was in Vegas, like, all right, we'll give this a try. And it got pretty close, but I believe that's where it ended. It was in negotiations, and it just, they're only going to pay what they're going to pay.
I think I remember a rule where, this is like going back to 2006, where maybe it was in the state of California. Goes, you might remember, it was when Ryan Bennett passed away, and they were trying to get, I think, Wes Sims to do 2 fights within a week, but there was a rule that you can't fight within 7 days. But you're saying you had already cleared all those hurdles as far as commission goes, and well, not you personally, but I guess Miesha.
I have no idea. Not as far as that goes. I just know that what we're like, are you going to take the fight or are you not going to take it? So as far as all those details, no. But I can tell you from past experience, and it is different per state, you usually get 1 week suspension. If you have no injuries, then you're fine. Mm-hmm. You get more of a suspension if you have injuries or if you're a little bit like off. But usually it's 7 days and you can fight again. So it would have been within that period. So I don't think it would have been an issue. And she came out with no injuries.
Do you think you would have taken a fight, I guess, if the roles were reversed, or maybe just down the road if somebody were to pitch that to you? You win a fight, you happen to mention that you're going to stay in Vegas for a week, and then all of a sudden a situation like this arises? Probably.
With the way that I am, I can't do 35 back-to-back like that. So it'd have to be the fight at 45, which is what we proposed because we don't know where she was. But yes, the right opportunity, the right time, and at a 45 weight, if I fought at 35 the week before and I could physically do it, no injuries, then yes.
Wow. And this has nothing to do with your making up for lost time because of the injury. This is just you're saying the way you're wired, or is it the challenge? What would have been the most appealing part of a 1 week turnaround?
I love to fight, and at that point you've already peaked, you're ready to go. Like you don't. Okay, you might get a little fat in the week after, but that's about it. Like, and you could turn around quick and fight. Like, you feel great for the most part. And
what is your favorite? I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said, and I love to fight, and I've been out so long, so you are right a little bit about that, where I'm chomping at the bit, but I just want to do it, man.
What is your favorite post-fight meal, by the way? Is there the one like you just think about throughout camp? Like that's what I'm smashing.
Okay, not anything really bad for me. Usually it's a cheese, bread, all that stuff. So pizza, basically pizza smothered in ranch dressing. Just the worse it is for you, the more that's like, oh, that sounds great after tonight.
All right, hold on a second. So there's the pizza, the cheese, and then ranch dressing. But come on, give me some toppings too, or is it just?
Oh no, they're like a regular. Well, I like veggie. I like veggie pizza. Veggie pizza, cheese. Oh, it's just good. That is what I want because I can't. Like, I'm living a pizzaless life right now, and I have been for a long time. So eventually, that would be nice.
You mean in between this fight that fell through and the next fight, you didn't squeeze in one pizza in between then?
No, I did the week. So I had an easy diet week, easy training week, and then I got right back on it. So yes, but my foreseeable future, there is no pizza. Not until after October 2nd.
The fact that we're bringing up food when this interview is over, are you going to say, those assholes, they just kept bringing up food?
No,
or are you, does that not bother you?
Because, like advertising, it gets you, whatever you look at on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it keeps popping up. Yeah. So during fight camp, all I see is food and dog stuff. It's food and dog stuff. And just sitting there looking at it is like, man, eventually that'll happen.
Nice. How do you feel as far as the knee? Like, everything's been conquered, like, in terms of like your full confidence in every type of a move, any type of pivot or any wrestling or scrambling. When did you lose that? When did you lose the whole thinking about the knee? Like, how much pressure you were putting it on it, how fast you were pushing, how far you were pushing it in camp?
Probably the last time I thought about it is like, oh, that's uncomfortable, was March of this year. I had a really, really good physical therapy team and really good coaches, and they kept me on track as far as you're doing this at this time. So I didn't go full bore off the get-go. I started with boxing, then Muay Thai, then very light grappling. So it was all gradual and it was all very controlled. So it wasn't just being thrown in there. And basically just listening to my team, like, you're going to do this now, and just you keep progressing. So it just built back up, and right now I feel fantastic. I wouldn't be back, and I wouldn't have taken a fight if I wasn't already 110% at the start of camp.
Wow. I imagine these daily hikes were probably a good test along the way in terms of the pressure you were doing or how much you were challenging yourself as well.
Those are just something that I do outside of training, and I love it. But yes, there is a physical benefit, especially coming back from something like this. But that's more or less it's my mental reset, freedom kind of thing.
Yeah. Last question. Okay. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of MMA altogether? And I want to ask this question delicately because I'll get hammered either way. I'm really also curious about women's MMA, but I often get told MMA in general, we're all equal. But I think Goz and I pretty well at this point. I'm not trying to make it a sexist thing or misogynistic thing or whatever. I'm just curious what you think about women's MMA, like the 4 women that you feel like, wow, like they've really done it. And then obviously, I would not be shocked one bit if you were to include one of those in a Mount Rushmore of MMA of all fighters as well.
Okay, so you want my Mount Rushmore of 4 fighters, period, who I think are just, they've succeeded in everything.
Yeah.
In life. All right. So it's besides fighting, it's outside of fighting. It's obviously going to be Ronda and Conor. And then after that, it gets a little bit murky because there is an argument for a couple of the best of all time, but their reputations are tarnished and always will be. So we all know who those people are. It doesn't matter how good they are. There's always gonna be that question. All right, so we got Connor, we got Ronda. I don't know. A personal favorite of mine is Rose Namajunas. Like,
nice.
I necessarily on a Mount Rushmore, but the way that she's lost, she's won, she's come back. Like, I think she's an amazing fighter. Who else do I enjoy watching? I'm trying to think about this.
Any old school flavor in this Mount Rushmore, or you're kind of focusing a lot in the 2010s?
I am. Probably Justin Gaethje.
I like it.
I
love original ones.
He's a personal favorite. I don't know. Like, the first two are obviously they've done it all and they succeeded. The next two are just, I like watching them fight.
And what about just women's MMA?
In general, so who has really done it? It's going to be Ronda, and it's going to be obviously Nunes. She's succeeded more as far as who she's ticked off and how she's fought. But Ronda succeeded in life, and she got us into the UFC. After that, I don't know who I'd include in the absolute women's Mount Rushmore of MMA.
Well, I imagine Rose, if she made the other one, she would probably maybe also trickle over to this one, right?
Definitely, but that's just, as I said, that's more one I love watching her fight, and I love her story. So yeah. But after no, I don't know.
Is this something you aspire to be one of those legends where maybe your name gets thrown around in about 10 years or so?
I'm one of those weirdos that don't sit there and reflect on things like that. Everything happens for a reason, and it's one step at a time. So if we get there, we get there.
Very cool. All right. Well, I got to tell you, you're always one of our favorites to interview. You kind of throw curveballs at us, like answers that I expect don't come my way. Like, I really thought I don't know if I've ever heard a Mount Rushmore that had those four. I mean, I've heard Connor, of course, and I've heard Ronda, of course, but I love them. I love it, man. Rose and Gaethje are absolute beasts, so I'm glad you included it. I'm glad I just got to hear something fresh and original.
It's who do you want to watch fight at the end of the day, and that's what everybody wants to do. You want to sit down and who's going to be entertaining. And when I hear one of them fighting, it's like, I'm going to watch that.
You ever had the opportunity to train with one of those, or even just share the training room at a card? Since obviously you may not have fought one of the men. I've
been around Gaethje several times.
Yeah,
he's a cool, goofy guy in the cage. Like, I like him.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm glad we got to catch up with you here during this time, because I know things get hectic. I'm going to submit a request to talk to you like maybe 2 weeks out of the real fight. I think I got in late last time, and I know you guys are so focused once, it gets to Monday and it's fight week and it is on. And plus, you probably may have even had intel about the fight falling through 24, 40 hours, before the rest of us found out. So
you guys found out basically when we did. It was that night. It was literally weight cut night when it got taken away, like 7 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was rough.
Huh. That's got to be the worst time to tell somebody.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You get ready for the worst of it. It's like, but you're ready, because the next morning you're getting down to business, and then you get it taken away. It's like you're mad at everything.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's already in the past, and I guess right now I can already tell your focus is on October 2nd versus Miesha Tate. I wish you the best of luck with this camp, and I hope you get to enjoy one of those pizzas on October 3rd. I'm going to have to try it. It's a veggie drenched in ranch. That's how you call it in?
Oh, it's veggie, whatever has a lot of cheese, veggie pizza, and then, I get like a bowl of ranch.
Goes, what was the other one we heard from Gina Mazzani? Was it jalapenos, pineapple, and what else?
It was pepperoni, jalapenos, and pineapple.
That's a pass. That's enough.
It was good. We tried it. It was pretty good.
That's what I thought. It was a pass, but I go, all right, let's try it. We ask these athletes these zany questions, and they give us answers. Let's at least, give them a respect of trying it. So I'm gonna have to try your pizza.
Alrighty.
Thanks for the time today, Aspen. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.